Okay, so you guys seen the video of my GT that I recently just got off a guy for 50 bucks on a local Craigslist ad? Well, here it is. You notice there's something different about it. Take a minute and think about it. Oh, maybe it's that lovely purple thing in there. Yeah, so I just stuck that 15E in there. I've already done a video, I think. Or I might have done a video on the difference between a 15E and a 15FE. I think I did. Anyway. So, the old engine. So let me start over here for a minute. Okay, so when I got this truck, off the guy, he says, and swore up and down to me, oh, the engine's great. It runs absolutely perfect. Engine's great. Yep, awesome engine. Runs awesome. Just, totally looking a little worried, when I was going to buy it off him. And I says, I really don't care if it runs. And then he looked a little bit more relieved, took the cash, and fucked off. So I thought, well, that's fine. So I brought it inside, and I thought, turned over the crank because there's no pull starter. I thought, geez, it doesn't have very much compression. Well, there's the engine. That's, I'll put you guys down for a second. Let's have a gander here for a minute. There's like one good part left on the whole thing. Right. Okay, so here we have the engine. Here's the cooling head. Notice it's been sanded on one side, because if you guys saw, it was parked like that originally. And he sanded the corner off the head to make way for the stinger pipe, when all he had to do was turn the head fucking 180 degrees so it pointed left or front to back. Because if you have these heads pointed this way, the air doesn't really go through the fins very well. If you have it pointed this way, it goes directly through the fins. So there's a right and a wrong way to put these on. The really cool thing is there's an MIP clutch that came with it, and those are fucking rare. Let's have a look at that crankshaft. Yeah, it's pretty scored and battered looking. Hang on a sec, I'll be right back. I gotta go grab something here for comparison. Should have used my other phone. It has a pause button. Right. Back at it. That's not part of that. That's part of something else. Okay, so here we have the block. Look at the back of it. It's all hammered. See that? Focus. Right there. That's a nice big groove in there, so that'll never seal. Bearings feel okay. The little locator pin that holds the sleeve in place has all been hammered over. You can see it sticking up the deck of the block there. And what they did, well, here's a piston sleeve. Obviously, you can see it's completely destroyed. Like, it's not supposed to come up that far. Ever. So, when I got it, obviously most of you know, that's the exhaust port. That big kind of rectangular port. That's supposed to face directly in there. Well, if you look... Oh, God, I hate this fucking phone. I should use the other one. Anyways, there's a bunch of damage on here, which looks like they tried to file a slot. Or cut a slot into the sleeve to move it for some reason. And only half the exhaust port was actually visible in the port in the block, and half the transfer port here was also visible, which it's not supposed to be. So this engine would never have run, or it would have run very poorly. Next, here's the piston. You can see a little Teflon puck that's supposed to be in there. It's not supposed to, it's barely there. And there's the other one, which is basically worn all the way through. Now, if you look at the connecting rod, and you look at the factory one, they're different. This one has a lubricating hole. Yeah, it's not going to focus. Anyways, you can kind of see it there. There's a lubricating hole in the bottom, one on the top, and you notice how it's like a dog bone style connecting rod. It's nice and kind of square like that. Look at this one. This is a different connecting rod, not even for this engine. I don't know what it's out of. But yeah, so it's got the wrong connecting rod. The back plate seems alright. This old truck smells like it was in the middle of a smoke show contest or something. And if you look at the screws, if I can find one of the head screws, they've all got slots cut in them to make them into flatheads. Factory air cleaner. Probably stick that on there. There. Not supposed to go like that. And the carburetor's in good shape though. Little OS carburetor. These are great. This is actually going to go on this engine here. This engine it doesn't use the pinch style like this does. It has a single bolt that goes through the block. It uses the block that has the two screws on either side, and they run into the carburetor to hold it on. Not the best design in the world, but it works. And these little OS carburetors are absolutely awesome. The rubber boot's not even cracked. It's nice and soft still. And it's an Rc10gt. In absolutely lovely condition. It's not stuck or anything. Inside of the clutch bell is all destroyed. Well, not really destroyed, but is rusted. But any of you know that own an Rc10gt, that they come with those little white puck clutches without springs? Well, this is what was in here. This is an MIP clutch. These are super hard to find, super rare, and they're awesome because your truck will actually sit there and idle without trying to move on you. The other thing is with this engine, this head gasket's actually from another engine. This is before I took it all apart to see if it was actually still good. I thought, wow, there's hardly any compression there. So when I lifted the head off, there's supposed to be a head gasket that goes here. There wasn't one. So I found this head gasket, which isn't even for this engine. It's a copper one. There's supposed to be the one that's supposed to go there's aluminum. And I think it's actually for a 15 or something, but it fits. You can see it in there. Yeah, so there's supposed to be a head gasket between this and the sleeve. So, just a word of caution, or a word of whatever, would be, you know, when it looks too good to be true, it can be a lot of the time. You know, you think, you know, I paid, what, $70 for this delivered right to my door, basically. And, you know, dude swore up and down that the motor was perfect, and, you know, oh, I swear to God, it's perfect, you know. So, you know, don't always believe everything that everyone says, because sometimes people are full of shit. So, you know, as soon as I saw this kind of shaved down, I've had lots of these trucks and engines, right? So, as soon as I've seen the kind of the shaved off fins on the cylinder head, and I thought, well, how come he just didn't do that? You know, he's had the head off, obviously, because all the fucking head screws have got slots cut on them. So, yeah, just be careful, you know, out there, because there's people that'll try and shiest you. Tons of good parts, though. The block, like I said, it's kind of not looking so hot in the back, so we're going to try and fix that. But, you know, it's a little GT update on the recent one that I just got. But yeah, that purple motor with that purple stinger pipe looks pretty sweet, doesn't it? Got some new fuel lines on there. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hang on a minute. You guys want to see the fuel that came out of the tank? Does not look good. The dirt wasn't in the tank that's sitting in the bottom of this container. It was already in there, kind of, but yeah, no, that was the color of the fuel that came out of there. As you can see, the tank is stained yellow. Well, the tank should look like that. Yeah, so anyway, just a little update video on this old GT. Anyways, take it easy, guys. Stay tuned for more.